Hey, what is up, everyone? Just kind of wanted to briefly talk about the one game that a lot of people seem to either love or hate, Genshin Impact. So, let's get into it. Alright, so if you know anything about me, you know that I'm a massive fan of The Legend of Zelda, and it seems that if you are a fan of Breath of the Wild specifically, people kind of expect you to hate Genshin Impact because of the very clear inspiration, that's how I'll put it, inspiration for Breath of the Wild that Genshin Impact has. Uh, and I guess I just wanted to talk about it because I felt that as a Zelda fan, people kind of just have this expectation and they use it as a joke, or maybe they, I don't know, don't like Zelda for some reason because of this sort of, I guess, belief that Zelda fans would hate it. And to be fair, I have seen a fair share of people, kind of shit on Genshin Impact for those reasons. But I've seen a lot of people who make this comparison that Genshin Impact is not only, similar to Breath of the Wild, but that it's also better than Breath of the Wild. So I guess I just, sort of decided to try out the game that everyone's been talking about. And I guess you could consider this video my full thoughts on the game, even if it's not necessarily a review of sorts. So almost every person I knew assumed that I was going to hate it from the get-go, right? Considering that I'm a massive fan, and to be honest, no. I don't hate Genshin Impact at all. At the time of this recording, I got to rank, I believe, 23, and so far it's been pretty enjoyable. I don't know for how long, though, and I think that's my biggest gripe with the game so far. I'm also going to refrain from comparing it to Zelda because, honestly, other than its visual style, the climbing and gliding, there really isn't that much there in terms of similarities because they clearly focus on very different things. But I suppose because Genshin Impact looks so much like Zelda, people can't help but compare, and I guess that makes sense. But other than these few mechanics being shared and the visuals being similar, there really isn't much in common. And even if you think about visually, they don't really look all that similar. I feel like Breath of the Wild specifically just has more of a more, I don't know, dramatic shading going on, while Genshin Impact doesn't. But again, I don't really plan on talking about Zelda for too much of this video. I just kind of wanted to talk about Genshin Impact in itself, right? So I think Genshin Impact specifically is decently fun, if I'm going to be honest. Nothing really stands out as exceptional, but it's solid and I can understand where the enjoyment comes from. But holy shit, is the gacha part of the game just ridiculous. The combat is fun, exploration's decent, but sadly the co-op is kind of limited. It's very limited, actually. There's a lot of specific things that you can't do when you're playing co-op. There's only like very specific things you can do, and it feels like they should allow you to do more. Otherwise, I don't really see myself playing multiplayer in this game for very long. The gacha rates are insanity, in my personal opinion. You have a 0.6% chance of getting any 5-star within a pool of 15 items as of the banner that I personally checked. After 90 pulls, you're guaranteed a pity 5-star, but with 10 pulls appearing to cost somewhere around $15 each, this is kind of crazy in my personal opinion. And mind you, this isn't my first gacha. I've played gacha games before, but if I compare to, say, other gacha games that I have played, the rates that I've played, they're typically like 5%, 4% for the 5-star items. And mind you, the 5 stars, you don't really need them in Genshin Impact, but I would also argue that you don't really need them in the other gacha games that I've personally played. Maybe there are other gachas where it feels like you need a 5-star to advance. But as of the ones I've played, it never really felt like I needed them, which would be like Dragalia Lost, Fire Emblem, Dragon Quest, Pokemon Masters was one. King of Fighters All-Star. Like, none of them really felt like I needed to have a 5-star in order to enjoy the game. But that's not really the point I'm trying to make here. The point I'm trying to make here is that the gacha rates for Genshin Impact specifically is extremely low. Again, consider a 0.6% chance of getting a 5-star within a pool of 15 items. And mind you, you can get duplicates as well, which means the percent really doesn't ever get smaller. At least with King of Fighters All-Star, another gacha game, the rates are about, I believe last I checked, about 3 to 4% or so. And if you get duplicates, if you get enough of them, you can kind of just create, or I guess pick the character you want over time. So you could get a very specific character if you're really looking for it, right? And if you keep getting it. And after 90 pulls with, $15 each, 10 pulls, that's a lot. That is a lot. So essentially, when you take in the fact that they cost about $15 for these 10 pulls, before you're able to get a guaranteed 5-star, you have to put in about $135, right, worth of pulls. Of course, there are ways to get currency that you be able to do these pulls without having to spend money. But if we're looking at it from a pure monetary perspective, and let's say you just let's say somebody who just really wants to get a 5-star and they're unlucky and they don't have any of these in-game currency, it's like $135 for a guaranteed 5-star. And mind you, because it's in a pool of 15, you have 0.6% chance to get anything from that pool of 15 items. And on top of that, if you're looking for a very specific character, or you're hoping to get a very specific character, you have to be lucky to get a 5-star in general, and then on top of that, be even more lucky to specifically get that one character. So it's just it's just not in your favor at all. You're more likely to just get anything else, honestly. At the end of all of that, right? If I'm not even looking at the monetization practices, and mind you, even with all of that crazy gacha stuff going on, the game does have like a Fortnite style battle pass type thing where you could put even more money into the game for that. But I haven't really gone into how much that would cost, really, if you wanted to do that. But there are, like I said, just like the gacha system, there are ways to use these things for free, so it's not super impossible, but it is definitely funneling you in that direction to spend a lot of money. But I guess when you make a game as big and expansive as Genshin Impact's world, I guess that's how they make the money back, right? So there's that, I guess. At the end of it all, though, it's a decent game. I can see where the fun is. I definitely get it, right? But I would really like it more if the co-op was, further expanded upon. And I think the insanely low gacha rates kind of hold it back a good bit. Then I feel like character designs in the game are not very varied. A lot of the males look very similar in terms of like body stature. Everyone's body type looks the same. Like all the girls have more or less the same body type. All the guys have more or less the same body type. Maybe somewhat taller, and that's kind of it. There isn't a single male character that I'm aware of that has like, let's say, defined muscle, for instance. Like it's all just very scrawny dudes for the most part. And that's kind of it, I think. I don't really have too much of a strong opinion on Genshin Impact after playing for several hours. At most, I can say that the game it's fun. I get it. But now, we're going to get into the part of the video where I say, do I think this game challenges Breath of the Wild? Since that seems to be the comparison that everyone makes, and since I'm a big Zelda fan, everyone always makes the joke that I would hate it for whatever reason. And after playing for several hours, now this is my personal opinion, but I don't think Genshin Impact comes even remotely close to Breath of the Wild. And I guess you can, if you're someone who enjoys Genshin Impact, that's not I don't mean that as an insult in any way. The game is fun. I still play it. I play it on a daily basis now. But I think the difference here is that they focus on drastically different things here, right? At most, they have in common is the visuals, the gliding, and a few little like mechanical similarities here. But in terms of like what they're planning to achieve, it's totally different. Genshin Impact's world, for instance, is not as focused as much as, say, Breath of the Wild. Genshin seems more so focused on like making I don't know, an adventure that's tied to like your questing and you're playing with friends kind of thing, and you know, having different characters. While Zelda focuses a lot more on like the detail of the world, the physics, and things of that nature. And because of that, there's certain little things that I don't really think Genshin comes even close to it, because Genshin focuses on entirely different things, and I don't think the things that they focus on, in my personal opinion, is all that much better for it, right? I think the world is worse for that reason. I think, and this is gonna be a hot take, but I don't really think the combat is, while fun, I don't think it's as creative as Breath of the Wild, for the reasons that like Breath of the Wild gives you like all these other options and tools to, you know, make a fight go the way you want to. While Genshin, you more or less just do your usual combos. Like you fight every fight for the most part the same way, if depending on the characters you have. But like I said, it's enjoyable. I get it. I like Genshin Impact. I didn't think I would say that going in, but I went out with having a decently good time. I don't think the comparisons are fair to either game though. Like if you're someone who genuinely feels like you have to compare the two and say that one's better than the other, I don't really think that's very fair, because they come. I don't. I just don't. I just don't think it is. I feel like one game focuses more on just making an enjoyable free-to-play game in a colorful world, while the other one's trying to make this massive, big thing, right? And I don't think like it's very fair. I don't think Genshin was attempting to do what Breath of the Wild was attempting, and for that reason, it would be no surprise to me or many other people if Breath of the Wild just ends up being more, you know, impressive for that reason. And I feel like the only reason why Genshin is being compared so much is mostly because the visual style is somewhat similar, and they share a couple of mechanics here and there. But they definitely don't focus on the same things, and for that reason, I don't think it's fair to compare them. But yeah, that's kind of it for you guys. That's all I have. So I guess let me know how you guys feel about this. Do you think Genshin Impact is better? And if so, why is that? Yeah, the only reason I could think of that people would probably like it more is waifus, right? And certain little things like you don't slip when you climb on rain and weapons don't break. But you know what? I'm going to say a hot take here. I like that about Breath of the Wild. I really do. But I mean, it's up to you guys. Let me know how you guys feel about the game. If you like it more, maybe you dislike it. Whatever opinions you may hold for Genshin Impact, let me know in the comments down below. And until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.
Shifty, yeah, shifty. Wanna be the #1 gamer? Come and get me. It'd be dope if you subscribe. Could you like the vid, please? Take your time, you don't gotta do it swiftly. Shifty, shifty. Wanna be the #1